Bonjour, Stockers. This is Joseph Walsh from NitrateStock.net. I am back up at MoMA Film,
Thank you.
for my day 2 and their day 4 of their annual To Save and Project series, a series that gathers film restorations, preservations from all over the world, some new discoveries, some movies that have recently just been taken off the lost list for the first time. They do this every year. There's something like 25 to 30 films in the series. Now, again, if you want the full list, please go to MoMA's website, or you can go to NitrateStock.net and go to the interactive website of all of New York City's repertory film screenings for the month of November. Did I say November twice? I'm going to say November again. November. It's 4 times. Anyway, today I'm here for a double bill, a makeshift double bill, mayhap, but my double bill nonetheless. I'm starting off with Robert Aldrich's Emperor of the North in a brand new restoration. Now, this is one of Aldrich's, I kind of feel like it's one of Aldrich's forgotten movies. I mean, he's most famous for, of course, Kiss Me Deadly, The Dirty Dozen, and of course, probably his most famous film is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, which was sort of an aberration, not thematically, but maybe subject matter-wise in his overall career. One of the great liberal humanists to come out of the post-war era of filmmaking. He was also one of the most caustic, cynical filmmakers of all time. And if you think his other films were cynical, films like The Big Knife and Attack, films like The Longest Yard, and of course The Dirty Dozen, which is amongst the most cynical films ever made, even though it's one of the great World War II movies ever made. If you think those movies are cynical, and this movie borders on downright nihilism, it might even be misanthropic. And yet, I remember this movie from my childhood. It was me and my older brothers, one of our favorite movies. It's simply because it's just so mean-spirited and vicious, and it's a depiction of Depression-era hobos who live by railroad hopping. And it stars Lee Marvin as A Number 1, and Keith Carradine as a character named Cigarette. Now, it's based on a novel by Joseph Conrad and a book about Joseph Conrad that was written under the pseudonym Cigarette. It was somebody who railroad hopped with Joseph Conrad as he studied the effects of the Great Depression. Even though that book was written before the Depression fully took hold, both of those books, if I'm not mistaken. It's a great show. It's one of the great showcases for Lee Marvin. It's a great showcase for the then burgeoning career of Keith Carradine. He really kind of showed what the Carradines were made of back then. It's a great early example of Keith Carradine. If you want to take his full career, if you want to take in his full career, the full breadth of his career, all the way from, what was the last thing he did? I don't know, I saw him on something recently. It wasn't The Blacklist. Anyway, the man's worked forever, and if you want to see where he came from, this is a great early example of, what was to come. It's also, I maintain, perhaps the finest 2 hours Ernest Borgnine ever committed to screen. Now, that is a mighty statement, because Ernest Borgnine was one of the greatest actors of the post-war era. Maybe one of the greatest film actors of all time. You could definitely make that case. But anyway, this is, if you're inclined toward films that study the underbelly of the human condition, if you're inclined toward films that celebrate the lizard brain that we all still possess, as opposed to the higher virtues of our being, Emperor of the North is your cup of tea. I haven't seen this movie in about 30 years. I cannot wait to see the new restoration of the film. I love this film to death. I hope I still love it when I see it now. But it's an Aldrich film, so odds are I'm going to love it. And if you've never taken in the entire Aldrich CV, no film director is without his share of clunkers, but Robert Aldrich made very few. He had one of the great film careers in the history of film careers. And he did it all. He did adventure movies. He did film noirs. He did bleak. He did bleak cinema. Period. If you ever seen Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, you know of what I speak. So definitely check out his CV, and definitely if you get a chance, this is going to be screening again at some point up here. I think in the next week. So you should check this film out if you're not here today. If you're not here today, why? Anyway, what's coming up on the second bill tonight is got me most excited about this festival, and I am a guest of the museum for this screening. And I'm very grateful for that. But they are showing Night of the Living Dead, the original 1968 Night of the Living Dead, and what promises to be, and what is heralded as, its original native version that hasn't been seen in almost 38 years. Now, I don't know why nobody told George Romero that, this film that was sitting in a steel can back in Pittsburgh, maybe the world would want to see it. I don't know. It just never occurred to him. But anyway, they dug it out. They've restored it now with funds from Martin Scorsese's Film Foundation, the newly established George Lucas Family Foundation, and other, charitable institutions. But anyway, we're going to get to see it. You probably know already. Night of the Living Dead came out, and because of a weird paperwork glitch. It went quickly into the public domain. Anybody could show it. Any TV station could show it. It's been an bastardized version almost since its initial release. Even though there have been restorations and reclamations over the years that promised to see promised the viewer like the original, the pristine, the director's intent over the years. This apparently is that version. This is the version. It's in the original aspect ratio. It has missing footage that hasn't been seen since 1968. George A. Romero himself is going to be here to introduce and discuss the film. And I got a sneaking suspicion that Mr. Scorsese himself is going to show up because the man just has no life outside of these things. So I'm hoping I get to see both of them. But I'm definitely going to get to listen to the great George A. Romero introduce certainly his most famous film, if not his finest. One of the most, I keep blanking on these words. Words. In the words of Gloria Swanson. One of the most inspirational, one of the most influential films of the last 40 years, surely. Not just on the horror film circuit, but on the indie film circuit. It's one of the most important. He's right up there with John Cassavetes, if you ask me, as far as being a hero of the independent film scene, the American independent film scene, not the world independent film scene. He's a hero. He's going to be here to talk about his film. I couldn't be happier. So I'll be back after both of those movies later on tonight to recap the day, to talk about the films, and to let you know what's new about Night of the Living Dead. I can't believe I'm saying that. So anyway, this is Joseph Walsh once again. I'm signing off just for now. Thank you for following me on my brand new YouTube TV channel, Nitrates.tv. And follow me on all the other various platforms. I'm sick of listing them. But I will be back later on to recap the evening, and thank you for following. And as I always say, stick with me. Stackers.